It is coming up on 1 year since the COVID-19 pandemic changed the way that we live, and restaurants are trying to rebound from the weeks-long shutdown and continued capacity limits.
But are your favorite local restaurants following the right safety protocols? As Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo asks in part one of a two-part series, are restaurants being punished when they're accused of breaking the rules?
For the last year, public officials have warned restaurants and bars following COVID-19 safety rules is non-negotiable.
I think if you are blatant enough during this environment to ignore good public health advice, then you deserve to have your name mentioned in a way that is not positive.
And Western Mass News has covered when local restaurants and bars get dinged in the pandemic. The return to life before COVID is still months away, and restaurants will likely have to follow capacity limits, social distancing, and mask wearing rules for a little while longer.
But how have the cities and towns reacted?
Western Mass News used public records requests to examine the complaint data from several local towns and cities between March of 2020 and early January 2021.
We found that many towns are more willing to file verbal and written warnings against eateries before actually giving out a punishment. East Longmeadow, Agawam, South Hadley, and West Springfield town officials all have not filed any fines on restaurants, just verbal and written warnings. Chicopee's health department has issued no fines, but their license commission has filed penalties against the licenses of 3 businesses. Holyoke, on the other hand, has issued multiple fines against restaurants. One of the biggest complaints in all the towns, employees not properly wearing masks.
It's a case-by-case issue. Sometimes it's an issue where someone didn't get the information they needed, and that is on them. They should have been up on the information that was necessary.
Mayor of Agawam, William Sapelli, tells Western Mass News that most businesses that get complaints are cooperative when the town goes to inspect.
The procedure is to try to sift through these calls, because we get several of them, and some are quite frankly bogus calls, and some are very legitimate.
Western Mass News found through public records requests, one Agawam country club did receive a $300 fine after several warnings. Sapelli says that's the town's MO.
If it's a repeated offense of over 3 or 4 times, then obviously the penalty for that's got to be increased every time.
Western Mass News wanted to check in with a restaurant that appears to be doing everything right.
People are chomping at the bit to sit down, but sorry, your table's not sanitized.
Mark Tansey is the owner of Partners Restaurant in Agawam. Of all the complaints Western Mass News sifted through, founded or unfounded, Partners hasn't received one between March and early January. In addition to signage that can't be missed, Tansey has also installed dividers between tables and a sanitizing system to let staff know which areas have been cleaned. When it comes to that common complaint of mask wearing, Tansey says he started swapping out cooks at the hot stoves more frequently.
Somebody else will jump in for a couple minutes to give that person a break. It's hard, but they know it, and I don't want to get used to it, but it's what you have to do for now.
Tansey says the biggest part in establishing public trust is being firm when the customer is not always right, even going so far as to turn people away who won't wear masks.
It's far and frequent as in the last few months, but I would say during the summer, probably 1 a week.
Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Audrey Russo.
Coming up on Western Mass News next week, we'll highlight businesses that have received penalties for COVID-19 violations.